Looks good. And here. All right. All right, here we go. What is up, TCG Sports? Welcome back. Today we are live again. Last night we had Willing Miners player Tyree Williams with us last night. It was an absolute blast. Amazing man. Absolute God-fearing man, Gage. I tell you what, this man, he means a lot to a lot of people. We talked a little bit about RC Everbeck, Pete Safrides last night with Tyree. Talked a little bit about his, scoop and score that he had on that field goal fumble that day on July 6th. He was an absolutely phenomenal man, and he so God-fearing. And we had him laughing almost the entire time throughout the interview last night. But today, Gage, we got another guy with us today, good friend of mine and yours and my wife's, one of the commentators with the Willing Miners. We're here today with our good friend, Jeff Blumenauer. Jeff, what's up, buddy? How you doing today, man?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. So, Jeff, let's start off with this, Coach Rez, 2 championships already. First one, I believe he won with the Atlanta Havoc. Now he's got one with the Willing Miners. It's all uphill from here now, right? For the Miners going into the NAL now.
Oh, absolutely. And somebody that's coached in the NAL beforehand. He was actually in the first season of the NAL with the Grizzlies. So, I mean, he knows the NAL. I do believe he said it was his 4th or 5th season coaching in the NAL, so he knows the ins and outs. He coached with them. He also coached with the Carolina Cobras. He was a coordinator with them and then a head coach as well. So he knows his way around the National Arena League.
Oh, yeah. Would you got anything, bud?
I'm hearing a lot of people speculate this because you had, the Greyhounds, the Rough Riders in Willing. Now you have the Miners, and a lot of people are speculating after this first year that the Miners are going to be bought for how good they went and be moved out of Willing.
No, that's absolutely false term. They are here for. We have a agreement with the arena for at least 2 more years, so 3 years total. And then after that, they will renegotiate and see where it goes from there after that. So it could be another 3-year extension. It could be a longer extension. It just depends on how everything goes. But no, as of right now, everything is slated for us to go to the NAL, which we're already active members of. The new physical year starts September 1st. So league meetings are starting here at the end of July. They are actually, I do believe, Monday. So there'll be owners meetings, league meetings talking about the new physical year. But the Miners aren't going anywhere, at least for the foreseeable future.
That's awesome. It's so good. It's so good to see it, especially with the Miners, the unbelievable season they had this year. I think as fans, we're looking for closer games this year. I mean, don't get me wrong. The blowout against Peach State was absolutely phenomenal. We were okay with that. I'm sure Coach Rez was too. But, what's the biggest challenge for the Miners coming into the NAL this year?
And that's so hard to say because believe it or not, like Coach Rez had the guys already set up to be basically an NAL team. Like he was already setting the expectation of player-wise, practice-wise, everything. Like that's just how they ran day-to-day operations was being a team in a higher league. Like yes, we were in a developmental league, but we didn't operate as so.
Right. Well, to be truthful and honest, it was, if you look at how the season was going for the Miners, you had close games with Jersey, and then Jersey came out firing in the playoffs, and then it's just like something clicked, and the Miners just immediately took over the game. How can we expect the same thing out of them for this year coming up?
You can definitely take that physicality back into the game. Coach Mont with his defense is unbelievable, and I'm sure Tyree talked about that last night. But Coach, you're going to see some different things from Coach Rez within the new rule set with the NAL. It's a little bit different than what we were used to last year. They do go by a little bit more indoor rules, so to speak. So you're going to have 2 men in motion instead of 1, and you'll have 1 linebacker in the middle instead of 2. So there's different things personnel-wise that you have to change a little bit with that, and also scheme-wise. So when you have somebody that's been in the business as long as Coach Rez, he's prepared. He knows what he's looking at. He's already preparing for next season.
And it's absolutely phenomenal to see Coach Rez at work, and he ain't afraid to get in somebody's face, especially the referees. I mean, if you look at Coach Rez throughout the season, there's photos all over of him in the face with the referees and other coaches' faces. It's just phenomenal to see how Coach Rez, Coach Mott works on defense and stuff like that. So, what you thinking, bud?
Now, with them making their jump to the next league this season, do you think there's a chance they'll jump to the AFL within the next couple years at all?
So I'll leave you with this. I don't think the AFL will last at the end of the season. So
you've
there you go.
Heard the upcoming rumors, then the fraud rumors lately.
I can probably assure you they're not rumors.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Without getting too involved in it, unfortunately, I will say this. The AFL now is not the AFL of old. Like, it's not the league it once was. It's not the prestige league that we knew in the early 2000s and late 2010s. It's not that league anymore. They tried to do it. I think they tried to rush it. Different people wanted different things. I just don't think they did it well. And unfortunately, some teams were crushed in the process, unfortunately.
So what do we like? Okay, so the AFL is probably going to go down the drain by the end of the year this year.
Right.
A lot of us aren't thinking that they're going to survive at all. So what is the biggest challenge coming up now for, the minors players? Because recently we had seen, Duluth Harbor had picked up Dante Mason and Jarve Flowers. Now, I asked Tyree last night, are they coming back? And he's very certain that they're coming back. What are we looking out of this?
So they have a possibility of coming back. So what they were doing is our season ended. There are some guys that were getting some IFL looks too, as well, because their season's still wrapping up. So those guys, that's what's good about Arena is it is year contracts, year by year and game by game. So those guys will go play a different style in Duluth in the Arena League. That's a whole different mess of things. Like that league is crazy. It's entertaining, but it's just different. They have 7 guys. There's no linemen. There's no offensive lineman at all. There's one center. That's it. And he's your only offensive lineman. No kicking. No nothing. Like it's different. It's definitely different.
Do you think it's more intense than what the NAL is?
No, I would. It's more of like a 7-on-7 scrimmage. Like it's all like it's good for the guys that are receivers and defensive backs. Like it'll be good for those guys, like Flowers and Mason, to get some different looks and get some extra things. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be. They're adding another team. It's really big out west. I don't think you'll see it come east, to be honest. And I don't think you'll see more than maybe 8 teams in that league coming. I hope they do well because, like I said, it is an arena league, but it's not. Like it's different. It's not your regular base arena football.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the game that I had watched with the Duluth Harbor Monsters versus the Iowa Woo, you got to be on something to name your team Woo here. Like there's it's an interesting name. I ain't gonna lie. But the game I watched, it wasn't bad. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane how that whole league works. But so, Gage, I mean, we're talking, here with Jeff, Jeff Blumenauer, one of the commentators with the Miners. What did you see out of the Miners this year?
I didn't see much. I didn't do the games at all. But I've seen highlights of them. Everything I think they're going to be really well coming out of this. I just want to know who their biggest opponent besides the Omaha Beef is going to be going into this new league.
I asked Tyree yesterday, Jeff, about, does it feel personal for the Miners, or for him at least, if they play the Carolina Cobras this next year? And he said it's definitely personal because apparently he was cut at the very last bit. So I asked him, I said, so if you guys play Carolina, is this personal for you? And he goes, oh, absolutely. So who's the biggest challenge for Wheeling coming into this? Because other than Omaha, because we know Omaha already.
Right.
What other teams is, willing to drive the nail in the coffin for the Miners?
So you kind of want to keep Omaha out of it until the championship, because the way the league is set up now, if you look at it now with the 9 teams that are in there, it's going to be kind of an East and a West conference, so to speak. So for travel purposes, we'll play Columbus, Georgia, the Lions, which is always a good battle. They're a very, very good team. Glad to see them back in the NAL. Obviously, the Cobras. And then you have the Stampede as well, who are a great organization, great history. Unfortunately, it took a 10-year hiatus, but after that, it's a really good organization, and it's only 4 hours away from us. So, aside of the Carolina, I think Columbus is going to be a good matchup. I think that's a team to look at, but I think if you're looking for a big rivalry trying to start, I think that Harrisburg game is going to be. I was on a show with them last night, and they're definitely ready for Wheeling. They want to be, that's for sure. And that's what we were kind of talking about is, we're only 4 hours apart. So recruiting-wise, we're kind of recruiting the same people. You know what I mean? Within the same area, because you're only 4 hours away. So they're a couple hours away from Pittsburgh. We're only 45 minutes. They're up in State College, so they're getting a lot of the guys. Like they could recruit a lot of the Penn State guys, things like that. So there's a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Like they could get some guys from Morgantown that we were looking at also. Some areas in there. So that's why I said it's only four and a half hours away. So it's going to get interesting. You're going to probably you may see some guys that played in for them last year for Harrisburg with us. You may see some guys that was with us. They go to Harrisburg. It's hard to say. It's different. Ins and outs. We'll see when the season unfolds. But I think that matchup's going to be definitely interesting. And I think that Carolina for sure is probably going to be the big one, because you have the coach of the year in Coach Negron last year. So they're going to reload, and he's got a good staff down there. So I mean, you take your pick. Honestly, I think it's going to be every opponent is going to have their differences and their tasks to try to take down Wheeling.
It's interesting because the NAL they're expanding. You got new teams coming in. The Columbus Lions have come in now. You also got the Corpus Christi Tritons that had just come in. What's the history of some of these new teams? Like especially Corpus Christi. Now I've heard of the Columbus Lions. I've heard of the Carolina Cobras, things like that.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Corpus Christi or any of these other teams.
So Corpus, they've had a bunch of teams there. That's a good market for arena football. It's worked, and then it hasn't for some reason. But the Tritons have a great look. They were a first-year team last year in the AIF. They've actually played the Columbus Lions in the championship game. They are really good at what they have. A great team. Their look, their logo, their front office is good. Everything is great when it comes to that.
Awesome. It's awesome to hear. Give me 1 second, Jeff. I'm losing something.
You're okay.
All right, there we go. I think we're good. Are we still good on audio? How do I fix that? Uh-huh. Jeff, can you still hear me okay, bud?
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you.
We got some echo coming back off the stream here for a second. Trying to get everything work. We're still trying to work out the kinks. Okay, we ain't professionals. So I still got audio. Okay, perfect. All right, so it was the desktop audio that was causing the echo. Okay, so you look at these minors, especially Coach Rez. I couldn't. I haven't even got a chance to wash my jersey yet because it still smells like champagne and beer after all the hugs that I got from a lot of the players. And, we're really looking forward to, especially with us here from TCG, we're really looking forward to like training camp coming up in February. Because we talked to Chris, and we're excited to be able to get there, start looking at some of these players and coaches again. Jeff, let's walk through July 6th. Like, there was a lot of emotion there, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the start of the day to the end of the day, a lot of good emotion. I mean, there was a lot of people that were locked in, ready to go, and by the end of the night, it was a party. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It was just a massive party.
Wheeling, West Virginia that day.
Yeah.
Bud. So it was funny because me and Chris, when our buddy Kraus me and him were standing outside the arena, like the fans, because we met with Dante Mason's family that day. We also got a chance to meet with Grant Russell's uncle outside the arena. Yeah, we met Pete's mom and dad that night as well. That was fun. It was just an absolute all-around blast for us out there that day. And so let's talk, because during that game, there was a lot of emotion, especially before the game even started. There was some serious chit-chatting back and forth. How do you think Coach Russ handled these guys to say, hey, stop. Let's focus on what we're doing?
His philosophy is always kill him on the scoreboard. Like, that's his biggest thing, is the best thing you can do is just beat him on the field. I mean, let them do what they need to do, take care of whatever they need to do, but just kill him on the scoreboard. That's always his philosophy.
We watched some of the ejections out of that game, and there was some massive ejections out of that game, especially one of the ones, the wide receiver from Peach State got ejected. I don't know if you noticed it. Did you notice it when he went to the locker room, Jeff? When he slammed his helmet down, it shattered?
Yeah, his earpiece came out, yeah.
Like, it was bad because we spoke to Tyree yesterday. And Tyree, I was talking to Tyree about that hit that Jeremiah Flores took. And Tyree was like, man, that was just a cheap shot, dirty play. Jeff, when you watched the final seconds tick off on that clock, what went through your mind, bud?
I mean, it was satisfaction, man. I mean, I don't want to say like we kind of already knew, but we knew. I mean, by the third quarter, we knew it was already over. You know what I mean? So, but it was just all the hard work of the year put in, a lot of behind the scenes things, like, everybody gets to see the product of, how good everybody looked, and, but there's a lot of work that gets put into that. And a lot of people wear a lot of many hats, like myself. I don't just do broadcasting. I do a lot of other stuff for the team as well. So there's different things that, when everything goes off without a hitch, so to speak, or as much as you want it to, it's relief, it's satisfaction. And then as soon as that, we were done with that night, it's all right. We're in the NAL now. Like, we got to start firing off, get everything ready to go. So it was just turning the page, enjoy that night, and then enjoy the championship. But we got to go work next day.
Yeah. Anything, bud?
Now, with that night, didn't anyone really expect that bit of a blowout? Because I know when we were up at Quaker State with you guys, we were interviewing people. People were giving maybe 40 points or a close game, not that bit of a blowout. Do you think anyone in that arena was expecting that bit of one?
I think they were hoping for it. And I knew we were going to kind of walk away with it, but I really didn't anticipate that much. But like you guys mentioned, a lot of those penalties and ejections killed them. Because as soon as their receiver went out, they were done. Like, that was it. They were driving, and I don't understand why he took that penalty. Like, he took a stupid personal foul penalty first to get his first one, and then his second one, he make a heck of a play over Dante Mason, who's the defensive player of the year, comes down with the ball, makes an excellent catch,
All he had to do was set the ball down, walk back to the huddle. They probably would have scored on that drive because they had the momentum. Instead, he slams the ball down, throws it into the second row, and he gets called for it and then thrown out, and then wonders why he got thrown out. Well, I mean, you got to keep your emotions in check.
Yeah, I mean, stupid penalties on both ends of the ball as well, because number 55, I think, from the Miners was ejected that game too. And
well, I don't want to say his was valid, but there was no reason to suplex Finch. And he went after the guy after he kind of celebrated that he dropped Finch on his head and knocked his helmet off. So, I mean, I could understand the difference why he wanted to go after that. So, I mean, I get it. You're protecting your team. So that's one of those kind of gray area ones that you're like, well, I mean,
look, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, because we were sitting right there in the front row, and we were just watching, like, right before the game started, the coin toss had got done. And then you just see these big ass coaches from Peach State, and then Coach Mott, Coach Rez, they're all getting into this. And I'm sitting here going, okay, look, leave it on the field. Quit chit chat. Somebody punch somebody, okay? For Christ's sakes. Somebody just punch somebody here. But, you know, I tell you one thing. I really don't like it. I don't like the dual quarterback system. I really don't. Because if you're a wide receiver, how do you prepare for a dual quarterback? Because P.J. Thomas in Peach State, he got rattled pretty quickly.
Yes.
And then they brought in this other QB. Like, I don't think this other QB knew what he was doing.
Well, he had to because Thomas was so beat up because the defensive line was on him. He got hurt. There was no other. He didn't go back into the game once he was taken out.
Really?
Like, yeah. No, he was on the sideline. He was seeing stars. He got hit pretty good in the backfield. And I want to say it was by McGee. And he didn't come back after that.
Oh, Mr.
So, I mean,
Georgia Bulldog, Sean McGee, man.
Yeah. Yeah. What a motor.
That guy can hit. I've seen some hits. So, what are you thinking here, bud? I mean, there's a lot here.
Pretty much.
Yeah, oh my Lord's fucking right. Because, I mean, there's a lot going on right now. So, I mean, you look at, like, who are we looking at returning for this year? Because I know Tyrese said that he's coming back. Grant Russell definitely going to be there.
So one thing that then that's up to Coach Rez and the owners, because Coach Rez is the GM. So that's a nice thing. He's the GM and the coach. So he's able to kind of build his own team and put them on the field and then coach them. You know, he doesn't have to go to a GM and say, hey, I kind of want to look at this guy. Can we look at this guy? Like, he can do that. And then having a player personnel guy like Jay Wilson is awesome to have. He did say he wanted to retain, he said probably about 85% of the team. And then anybody was pretty much going to get a camp invite and then battle it out in camp. That's what I'm excited for, because you're going to have, because obviously once they're able to talk to some guys, now that they're in a higher league, some of these guys that have played for Coach Rez before in higher leagues are going to want to play for him again. I mean, there's no way they're not going to. Like, he's a player's coach. Like, you can see that. Everybody sees that. There's going to be different players from different teams come in and that are going to want to play on this team as well, and that he's going to want to sign. So it's going to be very, very competitive when it comes time for camp of who's going to make this team and who's not.
Sorry, I know you hear the baby in the background.
Oh, you're good.
It's his boy. Think my fake fat ass guy has a chance to make the camp?
Hey, listen, I mean, there was a couple, kids that came in from and made the team just from the camp. So I mean, it's Coulter from JM. He went to John Marshall, which is, 15, 20 minutes down the road in Moundsville. Hasn't played football in a while, just kind of stayed in shape, went to camp and made the team and was a significant linebacker for the Miners. So I mean, it's possible, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not.
I can't say I'm too old because fucking RC was 54 years old and
right,
out there
right,
fucking laying pipe. So yeah, let's talk about that for a second. RC, scary injury in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
I haven't heard any too much updates, but I do believe he's getting surgery. It was his knee. He was limping pretty good when I seen him after. So knowing him, he'll probably recover pretty good. He has a good regimen when it comes to like keeping his body right and all those things. So he should be all right. But it was definitely a knee injury.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When we saw it, like we were all hoping that it was not RC. And then when I went to interview him after the championship game, I saw the wrap on his knee, and I was like, "Oh shit, it was RC."
Yeah,
man. Oh man. Oh man. So Jess, let's have a little bit of fun right now. Let's have some fun here, bud. You ready?
Sure.
How you liking NCAA 25?
Listen, man, I can't wait till Friday. I have like 3 hours, less than 3 hours left on the trial, which I think's dumb because I pre-ordered just the standard game. I didn't do the deluxe. I just did the standard, but I could play the trial, but I can't play the actual game that I physically own. Like I don't understand that. I don't get it. But Thursday night, I'll be able to. So tomorrow night I'll be able to play it. So I'm hoping to try to do some different things. I've been playing a little bit of Dynasty, or not Dynasty mode, but Road to Glory, because there's not as many games. The games aren't as long, so you can get more games in, in that than you would with Dynasty or anything like that. So I've just been picking it up. I can't put it down. I mean, that's the thing. Like I can't put it down. That's why, it was a 10-hour trial and I'm already down to less than 3 hours. So, and I'll probably kill that tonight. More than likely. More than likely.
See, I just got done playing not long ago, and we were getting ready to actually build another Road to Glory player. I'd ordered the deluxe edition to get the 3-day early access, but we were playing. I just won the championship with Notre Dame as a middle linebacker.
Okay. There you go.
It was fun. It's sad to look back at NCAA 14 and be like, all right, man, you held it up now.
Yeah.
It's time to move the torch.
It's one of those things too, and it's almost like they want you to transfer, because I went to Nebraska and I started as a freshman and I was fine. I was good going through. And then I was like, I kind of want to test the portal. And I looked at it and there wasn't anywhere that I wanted to go. So I was like, you know what? I'll just stay in Nebraska. Well, I was the starter and there was no one anywhere close to me. I come back, I'm third string. I said, what happened? Where'd these guys come from? I was like, what in the world? And the craziest thing is, the reason I went to Nebraska is because of the offense, and being a running back, they run more of a pro style offense with a fullback and different things like that. I come back in and I finally get my starting spot back. They're running a spread. And I said, where did this offense come from? So I'm going to have to finish this year, and then maybe I'm going to have to transfer because I'm not getting the carries that I'm used to or anything like that. So I'm not really doing what I was in that first season. So it's definitely people are like, well, it's not as deep. It is. Like, there's different things you got to keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, it's really deep. Like, don't get me wrong, I like playing my offense. I love playing QB, wide receiver, stuff like that. But when I was in high school, defense was where I ran. Defense in college was what I ran right there. And I couldn't help but create me a middle linebacker. And to be truthful and honest, my middle linebacker looks a little bit like fucking Ray Lewis. But, I mean, dude, because we talked last night about it a little bit on the phone last night. I want to get in with you guys on, if you guys decide to do like a road to the college football playoff, like I want to get in on this. And I figured out, if you let me, I have a team that I'm going to use. One team.
Okay.
I'm going with the Army Black Knights. The Black Knights of Army. I got to. I love that run option deep offense that Army has. It's absolutely phenomenal.
That's pretty.
Yeah. So, how do you enjoy it? You're a Florida State fan. So, honest to God, Florida State got cheated last year.
Yeah. I listen, you aren't going to get an argument out of me. I mean, here's the thing. If you do that, then why isn't Jordan Travis the Heisman Trophy winner? If he's the most important piece, if he's the reason that kept us out of the college football playoff, then is he or is he not the most important and best player in college football? That's exactly what they said. They said if you had your starting quarterback, you would be in. Okay, then why isn't Jordan Travis the Heisman Trophy winner then?
So, because my thing is Ohio State looked good last year.
Yeah.
Alabama wasn't looking all that great. Georgia was still on there. Michigan, Washington was looking good. And I'm not going to lie to you. Alabama should not have been in the playoffs last year. It should have been Florida State. And this is coming from an Alabama fan. And I'm a Roll Tide all the way. But Florida State should have been in the playoffs.
And honestly, if Florida State was in the playoffs, we would have probably had a way different picture of the.
Yeah, because I think what it would have been what Florida State. It was Michigan and Washington were the top two right there, weren't they?
Well, here's my issue, and I'm going to put the blame on your Crimson Tide a little bit.
Oh,
if y'all would have,
Jeff, I tell you, don't start.
Listen. No, here's the thing. If y'all would have taken care of business and beat Texas, Texas would have been out of there, and we would have been in there. It'd have been the same 3 minus Texas plus Florida State. Because the only reason Texas was in there is because they had a win against you guys. That's it. That's the only reason. And because you couldn't keep you guys out and Texas out. You know what I mean? You couldn't keep Texas out because they beat Alabama. Like, that's the biggest thing.
What is this? It wasn't my fault that Texas had Xavier Worthy and a Donnie Mitchell and then a fucking quarterback position.
But you know what I'm saying though? Like, if they didn't beat Bama in the first part of, early in the season, then they're not even in the discussion. Like, there's no discussion there. And it would have been okay. It'd have been Georgia, and if they would have put Georgia in then that would have been an issue too. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't. Couldn't do that.
I'm not going to lie to you here, Jeff. Alabama didn't have one of the greatest seasons last year. Nick Saban, yes, he retired. I think this new head coach in Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, is going to be phenomenal.
Listen, I cannot wait to see what Milroe does. I like the way he plays. I'm glad he figured it out later on in the season. And I mean, I think he's a good quarterback. He does what he needs to do. And I mean, listen, they're only a drive away from playing in the national championship and beating Michigan. Yeah. So I mean, a bad snap away at that. I mean, I mean, we're talking something totally different. So I mean, I think they'll be all right. I don't think there's going to be any step back. I think it's going to be the same old, same old.
So what do you think Florida State? How do you think Florida State's going to do this year?
I think we'll be all right. I'm definitely different quarterback is going to take a shot. DJ's there. He was at Clemson for a while, and then he went to Oregon State, and then he's back in the ACC again with Florida State. So it's a little bit different. It's hard because we had Jordan Travis for so long, so you got used to him being quarterback. You lost some major weapons in Johnny Wilson, and Keon Coleman. So the running game's definitely going to have to step it up. I think Toafili is going to have a big year for them in the backfield. Defensively, we're solid. I think the biggest problem is going to be trying to fight. Are we going to continue in the ACC? Where are we going? Like, I think that's going to be the biggest issue, because I hate to say it, but if Clemson and Florida State leave the ACC's done. Like, they're done. There's no other way to say it. You just take your focus off of just football. How much revenue and everything else that Florida State and Clemson bring to the ACC. I mean, Florida State's softball is unmatched. Now, obviously, Oklahoma 3 years in a row. I get that. 2 of those 3 are against us. Like, that's fine. But I mean, there's so many, and their soccer program is back-to-back national champions. So you've got a bunch of national championships that are going to be taken away from the conference if you don't play your cards right. So,
see,
I mean,
you say that, with Oklahoma, Florida State, and when it comes to softball, but you cannot leave Alabama softball out of that mix there, bud.
No, absolutely not. But I was just saying ACC in general.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
You
like,
were saying, okay, yeah, I can understand it. Because these new conference changes are weird. It's
so odd. And like I said, when we were playing earlier, when I was playing college football, and it shows up and it says UCLA and Nebraska is a Big Ten matchup, and I said, "What the hell?"
I have to ask him this about the Big 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to come out on top of that?
In the Big 12?
Look,
what?
I want you to understand real quick, Jeff. My boss is watching us right now, and he's a Mountaineers fan.
I was gonna say, I definitely West Virginia definitely has a run at it. I think Colorado is a couple years away. I don't think they're anywhere close. But I think they're a look at it. And also, don't count out Utah. I mean, Utah's still there too. Yeah. So I mean, that's another one that's really sneaky. It's really, with the departure of Oklahoma and Texas, it's really anybody's Big 12. And quite honestly, I don't think WVU should be in the Big 12. I think they should have went ACC when it disbanded out of the Big East. Because
try to get West Virginia field.
No. Oh,
so
I argue that one.
Well, here's my thing, right? I think it's beneficiary for West Virginia, because who's the closest team right now to West Virginia in the Big 12? There isn't anybody remotely close, right? If they would have went to the ACC, the Pitt rivalry stays. You don't take a pause. Pitt's in the ACC. All right, they're still there. Louisville's in the ACC. Duke's in the ACC. All these schools that they were playing in the Big East beforehand all went to the ACC. Why not go that way? Big Ten made sense too, but you know what I mean? Like, that would have made sense as well. But I from now to then, I still don't understand why they went Big 12. It doesn't make any sense.
Also, because you think about it, because you got a Penn State West Virginia rivalry right there as well.
Yeah.
But the only thing I would say that's close to West Virginia right now, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, but that's Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Geographically, it sucks for them. Like, I hate to say it, but if they would have stayed, I think, and went the route of, Rutgers went to the Big Ten, Maryland went to the ACC, and then went to the Big Ten. It just kind of, I think they should have picked one or the other. Geographically, it would have helped them better.
I've been fine with Rutgers going out of the Big Ten, in the Big 12, and let West Virginia come into the Big Ten. At least we would have had competition in that.
Right.
But still, that doesn't make any sense for Rutgers either, because geographically it doesn't make any sense. The only conference that makes any sense right now is the SEC. It's all Southeast Conference. Geographically, it all makes sense. Big Ten, what in the world is that? You've got East Coast way over on the West Coast. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I mean, the ACC as well. I mean, what are we? Instead of the Atlantic Coast Conference, are we the All Coast Conference now with Stanford in there? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Conference changes don't make sense at all.
Yeah.
It's weird. So, like, because, I mean, SEC, I mean, Auburn, Bama, Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M. You got teams like this, and then all of a sudden you're bringing in, like, Texas, Oklahoma. And it's sitting here like, okay, you guys could have just stayed where you were and been perfectly fine. Why the hell do you got to come and interrupt my conference?
See, I understand the Texas A&M one, because if you play Texas A&M, you can pick up Texas.
Yeah. But so here's my big question right here for Jeff. Let's see if he's biased at all with this question at all. Who is the team to beat out of the Big Ten this year?
Out of the Big Ten, I hate to say it, it's Ohio State. It's going to be Ohio State. Michigan lost everybody. They have another coach. And the other team that nobody's really looking at is Oregon. I mean, Oregon, I think, is going to make some waves. And here's the thing. If they don't do it this year, they're probably going to do it next year, because they just came out and said NIL deals is a blank check for them now.
Really?
Yeah. One of their heads just came out and said, because the guy that the owner of Nike is with them. That's why they have all the Nike stuff. And I mean, come on, why wouldn't you want to go to Oregon? So I mean, that's going to be one of the things recruiting wise here in the next couple of years. They're going to be really good. They are really good this year. I don't see USC really doing anything. My dark horse though is Penn State. Like, Penn State, their quarterback is unbelievable. Singleton in the backfield is a stud. absolute thoroughbred back there for them. I think he's going to do big things. But yeah, I would say probably Ohio State and Oregon towards the top echelon, and then my dark horse would be Penn State.
All right, so let's go another conference. Let's keep rolling the conference here. Let's go ACC. This is your bias question out of the ACC here, bud.
Well, I don't think there's much change from past years. I think it's going to be Florida State and Clemson battling out once again, trying to see who's going to beat who. I don't think really anybody else is really going to come close. Like, I hate to say that. I'm as much as it hurts me to say this, I think Miami is going to be better this year, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to do as well. I hope they don't do as well, being biased again. But I just, I don't know. You can't, I don't know. Miami is one of those teams that, we're back. Listen, come talk to me when you've won an ACC title, because you haven't. I mean, the last time you've won a conference title is when they were in the Big East, and that was it. I mean, that was the last time.
Yeah,
so I mean,
it kind of sounds like the Miami Hurricanes are like the Dallas Cowboys of the ACC right now.
Yeah, absolutely. yeah. The U's back, baby. Yeah, no.
I don't think the U's been really relevant ever since like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was there.
Yeah, no. So, because it's funny to me, because if you look at the entire new conference in ACC right now, I think Dabo Swinney and Clemson, I think these guys are going to come out big time this year. And I really think Florida State's going to have some revenge this year too.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be. And listen, I think I want to send a certified letter to Memphis thanking them every day for Mike Norvell. That's where he came from. Listen, after the whole debacle of coaching staffs and everything like that, the Willie Taggart area, oh God, let me forget that. Like, please let me forget the Willie Taggart era. But and then Jimbo leaving, which led into that, and then Mike Norvell turning that program completely around last year. It's just one of those things that, he's done a great job. I look forward to it. But yeah, I mean, as long as Dabo's still there in Clemson, I think they still have a shot.
So, you ready for this one? We're going to go my conference.
SEC.
We're going to go my conference, SEC. Who's the team to beat the SEC this year?
I have to go Bama. I really do. I mean, I don't think there's listen, there's some other teams in there. It's a great conference. It really is. I mean, I think obviously the top two right now are Alabama, and you can't leave out Georgia. Like, Georgia is going to be Georgia. I mean, as long as Kirby Smart is there, and hey, he's under that Saban coaching tree, so he knows what to do. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's pretty much he's built a quote unquote little Bama there in Georgia. I mean, it's pretty much the same, the same thing. I look for dark horse for them, Texas.
I don't see Texas being at all.
You see, you say that, and it's kind of funny you say that, because Oklahoma and Texas are just now coming into the SEC, and they're playing teams that they don't normally play. Ole Miss, Georgia, Florida.
Right.
Teams like this. This could definitely be a struggle for Texas and Oklahoma right now, because
they got to figure out how to play defense. That's the problem. Right. Big 12 doesn't know how to play defense. That's the biggest issue. Nobody in the Big 12 knows how to play defense.
Because if you're looking at the SEC, it's one of the blue blood conferences out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these boys are cornbread fed motherfuckers. These are big boys.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think I could see the dark horse being Texas, but yeah, I have to agree with Jeff. Georgia, Bama are the top two teams right now to beat.
Yeah.
This is why I say they're not the dark horse. And it's going by off last year.
Okay.
When Texas walked into Tuscaloosa and smacked Bama in the mouth and walked out a winner.
Yeah.
They proved they can hang with Bama, who says they can't hang with Georgia now.
Yes, but you don't think that Murrow doesn't have a chip about this size on his shoulder right now?
Yeah.
Going into, and now he gets a shot of playing them again because now they're in the same conference. I mean, he's definitely probably had that stapled to his locker from last year.
See, if you look at it, because the schedule for this year, right now, Bama's got Bama's got Texas, I think, third or fourth game of the season this year. And then a couple games after that, Georgia's coming to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
So you're back to back right now if you're Alabama and Kalen Dayboer right now, because Jalen Milroe is going to have to play smart, solid football straight up to beat Texas and Georgia. I mean, those are the top dogs right now. And it's phenomenal to see. I got Florida State winning the SEC this year. I got Alabama winning the SEC. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm not going to say it out loud,
Say
no.
Say it.
I got Ohio State winning the Big Ten.
Yeah. The only team, like I said, I could see Oregon, and also I could see Penn State tripping up Ohio State. So it's hard to say what happens with that, but
so is this kind of like a revenge tour for Florida State this year now?
I think it's a proven tour. I don't think it's a revenge tour because, I mean, you did go 13-0. I mean, and you won your conference. You went 13-0. Well, 13-1 because they lost to Georgia. But I think it's a proven tour. I don't think it's more of a revenge tour. I think it's we have a chip on our shoulder, and we're going to prove to everybody that, hey, we probably should have been in the conversation last year. And the problem is, yes, we're in a quote unquote bad conference. I don't think it's that bad. But obviously it's not the SEC, and that's what they're going by. But I feel like they have a lot to prove. I mean, and they can't depict who they play. You know what I mean? They have to play within their conference. They can't judge who's in their conference. So
Absolutely.
I got my prediction. All of the conference.
Okay. What do you got?
Obviously, I'm going with my Buckeyes for the Big Ten.
Of course.
Bama for the SEC, but close will be Texas or Georgia. Florida State winning theirs because they're, like you said, it's going to be a proven tour. It's not going to be no revenge tour.
Okay.
Big 12, they just came in. I'm having Utah win it.
Okay. If I'm going to go Big 12, I'm going to say Colorado. I think Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders has this little connection because, I mean, well, what was it? Last year, Colorado State about came into Colorado and demolished them.
Well, my thing at Utah is how good they were last year. Their starting quarterback and starting tight end weren't even there all season.
Really?
They're coming back this season. Yeah. So
I have Utah coming out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's different, and that atmosphere in Utah is different. They have I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but they have a long history of consecutive sellouts in home games. Not just like one or two. Every single home game is a sellout.
It ain't just nothing but Mormons in Utah. We also got football in Utah too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mormons, a lot of soaking going on in Utah, but I mean,
And I'm gonna tell you this: I don't care if our boss gets mad at us, gets mad at me. I'm having Utah win it. They took what was it? Ohio State. They almost beat Ohio State in the Rose Bowl.
Oh yeah. I think West Virginia's got a real good shot this year. I think West Virginia has a real good shot. I mean, from what I've been seeing from our buddy Krause, I think West Virginia's got a pretty good, decent shot. Garrett Green's going to be up at the Ohio Valley Mall in St. Clairsville. So I think West Virginia's got a pretty good shot at it. But I see the letter jacket right there in the back. You ready for some Buckeye local football this year, bud?
Listen, so I get a chance to go back home. I get one game to call there this year. I'm excited for that. It's in the middle of the season. I got mainly St. Clairsville on the slate with doing iHeart and stuff, with doing KISS 95.7. We got a couple games. We're going to go out to UL, things like that. So, yeah, I'm excited to get back home. I'm hoping that Coach Kedash, he's a new coach there for Buckeye, is going to take over the reins and hopefully do some good. That program has been struggling for a little bit, unfortunately. So I hope they, can fix it, turn it around, and turn it into what it used to be. A lot of tradition there, a lot of lineage there for Buckeye local. So hopefully they can get back to it.
All right. So who's the team to beat in high school football this year?
Well, so it's hard to say depending on. Are you talking Valley? You talking like state? Like, it's hard to say because, West Virginia they now went to an extra conference. So they did have 3, and now they have 4 conferences. So West Virginia is definitely going to be interesting to watch this year, and Ohio has 7 different conferences.
Well, let's just go. Let's go Valley. Let's go with the Valley.
Okay. So I think with doing a lot of St. Clairsville games, I've definitely seen them a lot. They are definitely really good. Coach McLean, who's been there for 22 years, has not had a losing season since 2017, and he has not lost back-to-back games since 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's getting his workhorse back in Dino Burke, who is a tremendous running back. Unfortunately hurt his knee late in the season last year. He had over 40 touchdowns going into that before that. Yeah.
Jesus.
He's a stud. They're going to be good. They reloaded. Steubenville is obviously going to be really good. With Aiden Davis coming to Steubenville from Wheeling Park, who's a fantastic quarterback, nephew of Nate Davis. So he's going to be great for them. They always have a good program there. They're going to be in the mix. Bel Air is going to be pretty good. I'm definitely excited to see lights in Bel Air now. That's the first time they've ever had lights. Finally. But it's just, like I said, it just depends. There's always those good rivalries that happen here and there. In the Valley, I love covering high school football. This will be my 5th season calling high school football, so I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and you definitely get some different sights and sounds on Friday night. It's the closest thing I can get back to playing, so I enjoy it that way too. But yeah, it's that's one thing that this Valley loves is football. I mean, it's unbelievable. You got the All-Star game happening Saturday. That'll kick off high school football here in the Valley. So a lot of good things happening and a lot of big events. So
we're going to talk gaming for a minute here because
sure.
We what was it, last Friday or Saturday? I tuned into Jeff's group on Twitch, and they were playing NHL 24. I'm a little heartbroken that I didn't get a chance to join. I'm going to make sure Jeff knows that I was a little heartbroken. But I was watching, and they were playing. I think Jeff was goalie, and I was watching Jeff play goalie there, and I watched one of the pucks just bounce off of him and go right into the net. And I'm watching. I was like, I saved Jeff. Way to go. Way to help the team grow. Way to go, Jeff.
Like, it made no sense to me. I made a heck of a kick save. I kicked it out, and it goes right to their guy, and he puts it in the back of the net because I was stuck in the E mode from the kick save. So I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on?
Hold on. If we're going to talk about anything like that, how about you putting the puck in our own net?
Oh, yeah. So we were playing the Cup Finals that day.
It wasn't the finals. It was the road to the finals.
Oh, yeah. We were playing the playoffs, I guess, to the Cup Finals. And I had called for the puck coming from the goalie, and I wasn't paying attention. I was coming in too fast, and I caught it, and I slid it right past my goalie's pad. I did it twice. I didn't do it once. I did it twice.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, but yeah, I will get in with this group because I promise you, being one of my builds that I have for my NHL 24 will definitely help out Jeff a lot on defense, and it's my offensive defenseman that I have.
If we're talking about that, you should go with him with my puck moving defenseman.
But yeah, like man, Jeff, it's been awesome, but it's been an absolute phenomenon to have you here today. And we're looking at big things coming from the minors in the NAL. We got big things coming in the college football world right now too. But yeah, TCG, stay tuned because I think tomorrow at 6:30, I got a surprise interview for TCG tomorrow. And then we also got Pete Safrides tomorrow at 5 o'clock, which Kraus will be doing that one as well. But at 6:30 tomorrow night is my big surprise interview tomorrow night. And I think Jeff knows who it is.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty good surprise, I would say.
Who do you think it is? Yes, it is absolutely Coach Rez. I had reached out to him for a follow-up interview, and he goes, yeah, sure, I'll do one with you, man. Well, let's do it. What are we doing it on? I told him Zoom, and he goes, All right, I'm down.
But you let me know. I have Rashad Ned that wants to post interview.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Got a lot.
Off season's busy, man.
Yeah,
It's busy.
it definitely keeps me busy right now. But TCG, I want to say thank you to my good friend and buddy and commentator for the Willing Miners, Jeff Blumenauer, for joining us today. And TCG, we ain't done. There's still a whole lot more to come. So stay tuned, and we will see y'all later on.